Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hacks and Hobbies. And today we have a truly inspiring guest joining us, Justin J. Moore. Justin is the CEO of Podigy Podcasts, where he's dedicated to helping founders launch and manage successful podcasts that amplify their influence. But that's not all. Justin is also an incredible, talented singer songwriter with nearly 100 million streams across his catalog. Now, he crafts captivating songs like pop, K-pop, and dance music genres. And in this episode, we'll dive into Justin's unique journey, his expertise in podcasting, and his passion for music. Justin, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm so excited.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here and good to see you again.
What's cool is that as you've been creating music, and you've done some really amazing things. I wish I had some of your talent 20 years ago because I was in the band. I didn't know how to play any instruments, but thank God that I had colleagues and friends that knew how to play music. And we didn't have anything like, Apple Music or Spotify or any of those things where we could publish our music freely. But we
Yeah.
did enjoy, doing cover songs and whatnot. So it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
talk to me about your journey. Like, how did you get into music, and then did that lead into podcasting?
Yeah, my parents are opera singers, so they both are Juilliard opera singers. So they're not just opera singers, they're like really like they're both prodigies when they were young. Both got like shipped off to like full ride scholarships to Juilliard when they were like 16, 17. So my parents were are still are incredible singers. So growing
Yeah,
up was always, I mean, constantly singing. People were coming to our home to learn how to sing. So I also was always seeing my parents kind of mentor different singers,
mm,
and they were always either preparing for some show that they were putting on, or they were doing a show or a production of some musical. There was just constantly music and things happening. So you know, from a young age, I was singing with them on stage, but then I also had a band that I started when I was like 11, and I ran that
yeah,
band until I was 18, and we played like hundreds of shows, and we got really good as we were getting older,
yeah.
and so we were getting invited to play in all kinds of cool places and open for all kinds of different people, and it was that combined with also being like an opera singer because I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
also be an opera singer like my parents, but I decided that I was going to go a different route and instead teach myself how to produce music, focus on
Mm.
writing songs, being kind of behind the scenes and just doing less of the performing stuff and more of the creation.
Dude, that's so cool. I always say you are the combination of people who you grow up around. So if you want to be an opera singer, make sure you were born in an opera singing family, right?
Exactly. Yeah, bang on.
There's a saying that if you want really good kids, you want to make sure that people. So it's a saying in the hadith, which is basically the sayings of the prophets. And this gentleman comes to the prophet and he says, "Hey, I want to make sure my kids are really good when they're growing up." So he's like, how old are your kids? Like, no, or he said, I have a year-old kid. It's like, well, it's already too late because you should have figured out who you're gonna marry before you decided how your kids want to be. So that's really cool to
Totally.
see. And I've kind of seen it throughout the conversations that I've had with the guests on my podcast who are influencing these geniuses, these entrepreneurs. And it's most likely a family or an uncle or somebody close by when they're growing up.
Totally. Yeah, you're 100% right about that.
So as you got more into producing music, discovering the different platforms like probably TikTok or Musically, as it was known back then, and talk to me about some of the struggles that you had as you were starting out.
Yeah, I mean, I did end up going pretty like I did TikTok, I did Instagram Reels and everything, and it ended up being like pretty like I went pretty viral in there for like a couple of years. I was getting like a huge amount of views on my videos and like upwards of I don't know, I think I did like 100 million, 200 million views over like each year. Like I was doing like 100 million or 200 million views for like 3 years straight.
Wow.
And I mean that was good, but I ended up, I ended up stopping creating content like that pretty much altogether because I wasn't feeling like it was super aligned. Like I didn't like having to constantly sit around and create content all the time, and it was
Mm,
so reliant on me and using my own energy. So I ended up, I mean, that's kind of how I got into, podcasting, and also, like I was a vocalist on Fiverr as well, like one of the top vocalists on Fiverr. So on
nice.
top of everything else that I was doing, I was actually making most of my living from Fiverr for like 3 years, which was super weird. But yeah, I mean, I think that compared to my parents, like the technology that's available to me now, and like what I've been able to do virtually without having to perform, because essentially that's the only way my parents would be able to make money when they were singers, is
They're
performing.
performing.
And so
Yeah.
I never perform, and I did just fine for like 6 years doing that.
There's a book I was reading by Jason Pfeiffer of entrepreneur.com. In his book, he talks about how when records came out and people were actually recording live productions, this one gentleman was equivalent to the Metallica when Napster's thing happened. So
Mm,
it's like no recording, and the reason they call it live recording even now is because they're like this is live music, not dead music from pre-recorded. So it's
yeah.
hilarious. Like he was worried that he would not make any money, but then he
Hmm.
realized that what technology was enabling him to do, and then he was like all on board to music. And there was a blip in that music industry history of
Yeah.
how we went from you have to perform to actually make music as opposed to the streaming royalties that you now get.
Yeah. Totally.
So talk to me about Podigy Podcast. It has been helping many founders launch their shows. What inspired you to start the venture? Was it because, hey, I don't want to do this day to day thing anymore? It's not really in alignment with what I want to be. How is Podigy Podcast different?
Well, I always had like a lot of things that I was doing to honestly just to sort of diversify where I was getting my income from, because I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do yet, and so I wanted to like plant a lot of seeds. I love business. I have since I was a kid. Like I've always been the lemonade stand kid, like since I was, 6 or 7. That was like the most fun thing that I could do. Or maybe I'd be like busking on the street when I was like 10 or 11 and just like playing guitar on the street and singing for money. And so I started producing podcasts because I was an audio engineer. Like I had a hard skill, like an
Mm-hmm.
actual identifiable skill. I could produce audio at a really high level and mix, podcast vocals, because I was mixing my vocals all the time for the stuff I was doing on Fiverr. And I just started doing
Mm-hmm.
it for one dude, and he had a big podcast, for he's a famous mountain biker, and he had like a really famous podcast for other mountain bikers, and I just started
Mm-hmm.
editing that, and the show was getting like 40,000 downloads a month, like just huge, huge, and she really enjoyed editing it like a lot. I liked the process, and but soon enough, I kind of realized, hey, maybe I don't actually have to do the editing. So I hired somebody to do that part. And so I could focus on helping him with other parts and do some of the writing. And then I was doing the writing, and I'm like, I don't think I have to write either. So I hired a copywriter. And then I was like, I don't really think I have to manage all these episodes myself. So I hired a project manager. And that was over a period of like 5 years. The business was really small. It had like maybe 5 or 6 recurring clients, and that's it. It was just sort of supplemental income. I mean, it was nice, but wasn't anything crazy. But it was really when my fiance moved to Canada, and we knew that, in order for our relationship to really work, we couldn't have jobs that would require us to be in either place. We needed to be global. We needed to be able to pack up and go and whenever we want, and just make our money regardless of where we lived. And I was already doing that for myself, and always done that for myself. I could go anywhere as long as I had, 5 or 6 hours a week. I could record my songs on Fiverr, make my money for the month, really, really with barely any time, which allowed me a lot of time to do other stuff. But now Celine also needed that because there was two of us and we needed more income, and we wanted to go bigger. We wanted to like really create something massive together. And so we hired a couple of coaches and we built an offer. we like revamped the entire business. I had all these systems and all these processes for the agency, but we just like overhauled everything. And so
Yeah.
all of 2023 was just constantly building and growing and like creating the vision and finding our first people. And now in 2024, we have tons of clients. We're approaching our like 25th launch since 2024. So literally launched 25 shows already
Congratulations. That's
in this
amazing.
year. Yeah, and our goal was to launch 50, and I think we'll probably blow past that. But things are growing. We have a vision. We have like energy, this fire behind us. Our clients are amazing, and Selena and I have become like unrecognizable compared to who we were last year. Like through growing the business, it has been like a personal journey like no other, and I've improved in a billion different ways, and so is she, and this will kind of happen within like a year and a half. Like we took a business from literally making like nothing every single month, pretty much sometimes even
Mm.
losing money, to like a really really profitable business where we had to like incorporate right away because it was getting too big, and we had this big team, and so yeah, I mean every day we're proud of what we build, but we're also maybe busy looking forward and on to the next thing, as well. Not We don't have enough time to be proud too often.
No, no, Matt, that's amazing, and congrats and kudos to you. You know,
Thank you.
what I hear and what I see is that you're one of the things that you're focusing on is helping founders. Talk to me about what do you mean by founders and who are these founders that want to launch podcasts?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey of figuring out who we actually wanted to serve. And I don't think founders in particular is the only word that we could use. It could be coaches, it could be whatever. And actually um I don't particularly love any of the words, because the only kind of quality that somebody needs in order to be a good client of ours is just that they have a vibrant personality. They have
Mm-hmm.
a mission that is firing them up inside that they can't help but talk about. And they
Yeah.
have a business behind it where they help people. And that's it. Those things are the only things that actually, so that could be a founder, it could be like a CEO, it could be somebody who's exited a company, it could be an entrepreneur of any kind, it could be a coach, it could be an author, it could be a musician. It doesn't matter. It's just the person. Um, if the person is has a message that's important and that actually helps people, then we want to be involved in it.
And I love that. The messaging and getting the message out, I think, through podcasts is one of the fastest ways to do it because you get so much momentum based on how many episodes you launch. And within a few months, you have a ton of content out there that totally resonates with the audience that's listening to the message.
100%. Yep. Agreed.
So talk to me about you mentioned that as you started managing these podcasts, you're like, well, I don't really have to do it. And being in that Fiverr environment, you're like, wait, I'm already using this platform. I can use it for my own self and bring in people and train them. What are some of the technical aspects of podcast production that you automated or eliminated from you having to manage it and then having somebody else manage it?
Well, there's of course like there's the audio production and the like audio engineering side of things, which is like literally like what frequencies do we boost and lower. There's like compression, which is how do we keep the volume within a certain level so that it doesn't like blow people's ears off.
Mm-hmm.
There's like there's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of automations with it. That's like a whole
Yeah.
thing is audio engineering, and that's like the first step. That's like the foundation of a podcast. And the podcast, it doesn't sound good, I don't know if we can even really call it a podcast, because it's like
Yeah.
the bare minimum, right? Like it's got to sound good, and it's easy to make it sound good, especially if you have a good microphone. But and then beyond that, like after that, then there's the video side of it. So then the video also needs to be edited alongside that and made ready for YouTube. And then for YouTube, we want to create a thumbnail, and we want to write the title for the episode and the
Mm-hmm.
episode description. And then we also want to have the episode be scheduled for release and make sure that it's all ready for all the platforms and has all the necessary things and tags and all that stuff. And then we want to see that it comes out on time and that the episode gets promoted properly. And so all these things and all these systems, it was something at any given time that I was doing myself. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned through this whole process is that the more and more I'm able to bring people in to take over things that I have done myself, systems that I've created that really don't need me to be involved, the more
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to then go out and do the things that I'm best at, which then bring more clients in, bring the business to a new level, which then gives everybody
Yeah.
else more work to do. And so I think that's like one of the biggest things that separates us from a lot of other businesses at our size,
Yeah.
is that I see a lot of people who are a one person show and they might be making really good money every single month, but they are doing everything themselves.
Everything
And it's like
themselves.
this, yeah, it's just this real like stubbornness, and they're not able to like let go of that idea that that this is DIY, that this is like, they got to be nose to the grindstone for anything to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I really like that. And what's really interesting is as you hand over control of the business aspect, you can maybe go back to doing the things that you love, like maybe still do some music. Do you still do music and create new stuff?
Yeah, so like the business provides me enough freedom that I'm able to step out like every Friday. I could probably step out Thursdays too if I wanted, but I
Mm-hmm.
choose to work on the business more. But every Friday and every Sunday I'm usually writing songs as well. So um I am I'm growing this business, and I'm wholeheartedly invested in this business, but I am also doing a completely other career in music, and I'm about to sign a big publishing deal, and I'm gonna
Dude.
probably become a huge songwriter over there. Like that's, I mean, it's like, so I think like I also was under the impression that I could only do one thing, and that I'd have to choose between being a business person or being a musician. And I even had somebody in the music world. I told them, listen, I'm going to go and start a business that is going to make me very wealthy, and then I will come back to the music industry in a couple of years, totally self-sufficient, not relying on anybody, and the business will only require 15 to 20 hours of my time per
Yeah.
week. And I remember this guy, he told me, he said, that's fantasy. There's no shortcut for hard work. And I was like, and that stuck with me. And the whole time that I was doing this business, I kept thinking back to that. He's like, it's fantasy that you can run a business in 20 hours a week, and you know one that makes you quite wealthy. And so I mean that's in people's minds. It's like that you can only do one thing. Either are the business person who grinds away all the time on your business, or you're the music person.
Yeah.
So I'm doing
You're
both, and
gonna prove them
that's
wrong.
how it's
You're
gonna
gonna
be.
prove them wrong, right? And
Totally.
and that's basically because they haven't stepped out of their own comfort zone. They haven't stepped out of their own echo chambers to see what's even possible.
Yeah.
And as podcasters, we've talked to people from all walks of life and all the different things that they get to do. And so we see it like, hey, if they can do it, I can too. And you're a solid proof of what you've been able to do and how you've been able to build this business, balance it with the music creation, about to sign a publishing deal. I'm so excited for you, man. This is awesome.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
All right, so what I'd like to do now is take a quick break, and then when we get back from the break, you'll share three practical, actionable advices that people listening, entrepreneurs, musicians, whoever they might be, they can take action on those hacks.
Totally.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right, guys. So we've been having some really amazing conversations here with Justin J. Moore, and what I want to take a break here is talk to you about what's important. And what's important is that we continue to go down the path that's designed in our mind. And what that enables us to do is to really see the world the way it is. I actually recently shot a video on the Renaissance man, and it's really inspirational because it talks about Michelangelo and how Michelangelo, to be a really great artist, he had to study human bodies. And because he was not he was not in education, or he was not in the medical space, he didn't have access to those cadavers. So he would sneak into the morgue and he would cut up bodies to understand. I was like, whoa, dude, if he got caught, he would be in trouble. But that's what inspired him, and that's what enabled him to actually understand the human anatomy, and he was able to create sculptures that mimicked the human body. I want to say hi to some of the people watching here. Richard Kaufman, thanks for sticking around. J.R. Sparrow, I think you forgot to write a message, but it's fun having these conversations. But now back to the episode. Justin, dude, it's been so much fun talking to you. Thanks for the thanks for taking a little break with me. Um,
Totally.
let's jump into the 3 hacks that you've got for us.
Yeah, I mean, three actionable things. So I think the biggest one is something that I already mentioned, which is that, and it comes from actually a book that one of my favorite books is called Buy Back Your Time. I always have it on my shelf over here, and it's that if somebody can do something in your business 80% as well as you can do it, then that is 100% awesome. So that that's to say that one of the biggest things that I see, and even just my friends, the people around me, and something that I feel like is just such a hack is like
Mm-hmm.
the first person that you bring on should just be like a virtual assistant who, all you have to do is just like go through your calendar for a week, and as you're going through your days, like, every half an hour, write down what you did in that last half hour, or write down what you did in that last hour. And by the end of the week, you'll have all these little things, and then just take a highlighter and highlight all the ones that you think you don't have to do yourself. Then make a little video, shoot a video of how you do it. There you go. You've now built a standard operating procedure. You now have a virtual assistant, and you have freed up what, like 3 hours that week? And that
Mm-hmm.
process just compounds and compounds and compounds. And to the point now where I have two full-time virtual assistants. They work 320 hours every single month. That's
Amazing.
all tasks that I used to do myself. Every single task is something I used to do. So imagine, as one person, I would be working full time doing tasks that a virtual assistant could do. And I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and so that would be probably the biggest one. The second one is that I think just sharing things about what you're doing, showing up online, like my whole business changed the second I decided to start posting daily on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But even just mostly just Facebook was the biggest one. The amount of connections that I made, the amount of clout that I got from doing that, the amount of people that started, looking at what I was doing, and actually paying attention to me, it was huge. Like immediately everything changed. Like I really started getting introduced to people, and people started messaging me, and I was getting leads finally. So creating content somehow, like, it doesn't have to be that you're actually creating the content every single day, but that you have a day in the week where you batch out, like, content for the next week or something. That's what I did for like 8 months, and it was really the biggest contributor to my business. I still do it now. I sometimes I miss a week, but it is something that is like almost like top priority. I just creating content as much as I can, having content coming out, showing up in front of people. And then the other thing, like the last thing that I would add is something that I kind of already mentioned, is like networking, like finding people who do what you do, or do similar things to what you do, or serve people who might also be good for what you do, or but just like
Mm-hmm.
connecting with people. Like I think that the every single thing that I have learned along the path has been thanks to a coach, or thanks to somebody from Facebook who I just decided to send a message to. A few people when I was starting, I was like, "Hey, like I'm new to business. Can I like ask you a question about a problem that I'm struggling with right now?" And a bunch of high level mentors were like, "Yeah, of course." And those guys are still my friends now. They refer clients to me now after 2 years, when I now have a really tight service that is proven. Now they refer clients to me. And so I would say, you need to get an assistant immediately. Like literally, people say they don't have money. It's like you pay somebody $100 a week. That's like 12 hours of a
Yeah.
virtual assistant's time.
Yeah.
And if you think that you're saving money by doing the things yourself, then you don't value your time at all. And so first thing would be an assistant. Second thing would be to just create content and share what you're doing, and share the evolution of your business and your ideas and your thoughts and the books you're reading and the food you're eating. And then the last one would be just connect with people. Like just reach out to people who could be your mentors, because that's going to be like, those are high leverage activities. That's how the business really is going to expand.
Dude, I love those so much, and uh, I did it the hard way, right? At the beginning, I did it the hard way. I would edit all my stuff, and then I was like, okay, I'm spending 3 hours on a 45-minute episode.
Yeah.
that is not worth my time. So I
Exactly.
brought in help. I brought in an expertise. I trained my VA, who's now my podcast producer, and because I was like, why should I pay somebody else when I already know how to do all of this? I mean, you know how to edit audio. Like, why would you pay somebody else? Because our time is something that we cannot get back. Our time is something
Exactly.
that we cannot replenish. There's a
Totally.
cool joke. Seinfeld. I don't know if you've seen any of his episodes, but
Oh
one of the
yeah.
jokes was like, you know how you're trying to save time? When are you supposed to get that time back? Is it towards the end of your life you get all this time back? Like, hey, you saved that time, remember? Here's all the time that you try to save.
It's so true though. Like it really is.
But anyways, thank you for the hacks, man. I'm absolutely implementing all three of them. The one that I need to do again is bring on somebody that's editing my video content. So because I'm creating a lot more educational content on how to use tools, how to use software, how to set up studios, blah blah blah. So
Cool.
now I need somebody because I was sitting in my office editing a bunch of my own content. I was like, yeah, I'll just do it. It's so quick, right? But the more I create, the more I need somebody else to take over that aspect. So I'm definitely going to
Yeah.
reach back out to this one gentleman who had helped with editing videos in the past to
Yeah.
come and edit
Fantastic.
some and stuff. All right. Amazing hacks, amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Justin. Let's jump to the fun 6 question segment. And in here, we're going to give the audience a chance to get to know you personally. I mean, we did ask some really fun questions, but let's. Am I scrolling in over here? What's going on?
You're zooming in and out on you.
I'm zooming in and out. I'm like, okay, my scroller wasn't wrong. All right. So number one, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Oh, there's probably a couple, but I would say golf.
Mm. Did your parents play golf?
No, but nobody did. And I think that was the problem. Yeah, golf because I feel like a lot of good conversations happen over golf, and
Mm-hmm.
also it's a huge thing here. Golf for skiing. Both of those things are enormous where I live. Rolling fields and lakes and beautiful places to play golf, and same
Nice.
thing, amazing mountains to ski on. So those two things I wish I really do. And I might still. I got time.
Yeah, you got time. Awesome. Awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. Next up, what did you want to be when you were a child?
Oh, definitely a singer, hands down.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah.
did that.
And he, yeah.
Going back to golf, recently we watched Happy Gilmore
Uh,
because
yep.
we've been watching a lot of Adam Sandler stuff. And I was telling my wife, she's like, "Have you ever seen Happy Gilmore?" Because at the beginning of every movie, you see the golf ball cracking a window.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah, totally.
So we went back and watched that movie, and she was cracking up, and I was cracking up. It's like that's hilarious. All
Yeah.
right, next up, which actually takes us to the next question: what's your favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, my favorite TV show's got to be Breaking Bad. I know that's
Hmm.
probably cliche, but oh man, so good.
How
Movie, I
how
don't
is
know.
how is it cliche? I mean, tell me.
Oh, I feel like everybody would say that. I would
Hmm.
like to say something like more like unknown, but no, I love it. It's great. It's a great piece of TV.
It's a really amazing show, actually. And I was reading the biography of Bryan Cranston. You know, he's been in some amazing movies lately, but he
Yep.
actually stepped into film or acting at the age of 40
Oh
when he
wow,
was in
that's late. Oh,
three in the middle, or Malcolm in the Middle, he was the dad.
yeah.
Then at age 50 he was Walter White, and then you know everything changed after that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's insane. I did not know that. That's inspirational.
It
Never too
is, yeah.
late.
It's never too late for anything, and I keep seeing like Morgan Freeman didn't start till a very late age, and that's why he has this deep voice. Because the older you get, the deeper your voice gets, and so he's been doing amazing. All right, next up, what movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
Ooh, I feel like Harry Potter. Oh, totally Harry Potter. Yeah, I don't know who I would just want to fly around on a broomstick
Oh
and
man,
yeah.
fly! I'd love flying around too, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, next up, who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, we're actually this is very timely because we're literally just going through all of the Avenger or all of the Marvel movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've like we've actually watched. I think we're on number 21. So we're on a
Nice.
huge streak of watching because we went from the very beginning to the very end. And I think my favorite's Thor. Thor is so
Mm,
cool, man. Yeah,
he is.
it's got to be Thor. Yeah.
He is very cool, and he played a pretty cool role in the latest Guardians of the Galaxy as
Oh, I
well.
haven't even seen that one yet.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming, it's coming. Yeah,
Cool.
man, I love it, man. All right, last question: if you were a board game, what would it be?
Hmm. If I was a board game or if I could
If
pick a
you're the
board
board
game.
game people playing on,
Hmm. That is a really good question.
it's not
I
even
would
my
say like,
question.
okay. I feel like it's got to be something like what's that game Clue? Because I feel like I got lots of things going on. People are like
Mm,
finding things out as they go along. Oh, he's done that. Oh, what you did some of that random
that's
stuff?
so
Yeah.
cool. I like the way you explain it. That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Justin, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Where can my audience find you?
So Instagram, people want to DM, you can DM me hacks, HACKS on Instagram at Podigy Podcasts. And that's Podigy Podcasts, like multiple with an S. And yeah, that's where you can find me, and I can we can chat. So if you might be a fit for something that we do, one of our programs, and if not, then we've got a really awesome free community that I'd be happy to direct you to. It shouldn't be free. There's lots of amazing stuff in there that should be, it's worth money, but you can get in there for free. And yeah, so I'll help you out regardless of your situation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again, Justin. We'll catch you in the next episode, man. Thanks again for your time, your wisdom, your passion, and the music that you're going to be creating. Can't wait to go listen to more of it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Junaid. Have a good one.
You too, man. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out and listening and tuning into another episode of Hacks and Hobbies. We hope you found Justin J. Moore's insights on podcasting and music as inspirational and actionable as I did. Make sure you check out his work at Podigy Podcasts. His Instagram handle, just text him hacks, and his music varies and his music across various platforms. Until the next time, keep hacking, keep hobbying, and don't forget, there's a lot more world out there than you can imagine.